Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page, where I do this daily live stream, or nearly daily live stream, called the Spiritual Roundtable. So welcome. Today is Sunday, June 9th, and it's a warm day here in Tomah, Wisconsin. Yes, it is. And I'm broadcasting up from Star Nation's Academy, and yeah, let's get started because I got some good stuff to share with you guys. And I missed you guys. Holy smokes. It's been since Wednesday, since the last time I did a show. I had a couple of meetings on Thursday that I needed to get done in person, telephone calls and an in-person meeting. And so, yeah, so it's been a few days, right? And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I got Sunday hair today. Yeah. This is what happens when you have naturally curly hair and you don't do anything with it. Yeah, this is it. So anyway, welcome. It's good to be back with you guys. And, you know, for some of you, you might think, what happened to the name of the show? We changed the name last week. For the longest time, I didn't have a name for the show because it was kind of like a experiment. I wanted to see what was going to happen between just doing a regular live stream like through Facebook, you know, they call it native live streaming, and using our third-party app and our partners at BeLive TV. And I did. I found out some really good information by doing that show every single day. And we did that show every day, almost every day, I should say, for a year. Yeah, for a whole year. And about halfway through the year, we changed it to the daily live stream show and group card draw name. And that fit, but it didn't really roll off the tongue, you know? And so recently, our social media manager sent me a note, and she was saying, you know, why don't we use the name of the show that you've been talking quite a bit about, and that's a Spiritual Roundtable. And I thought, well, why not? Why not? Let's do that. So that's why we changed the name to something a little bit more lyrical, and I don't know. I think it means a heck of a lot more, I think, as a description of what we do here. So before I get rolling too much further down the road, what I'd like to do is to like and share the live stream. Oops, wrong page. There we go. And I'd invite you to do the same thing. And I'll share with you why. Is because it's easier to find items on Facebook when we like, share, and comment. I don't know if you noticed, but there are lots of information that come across, and you read something or see something that you really like, and you go back to find it, and you can't find it. Even when you do a search for it, it's like, where did it go? So, you know, there's a lot of information out there, and to help us be in the newsfeed a little bit more often, to like, share, and comment. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing it over to my newsfeed, and so that my friends remember that I'm live streaming. So it doesn't take long. So I'm just telling them hi, and I'm live streaming. There we go. And asking them to please join. There. And I think we'll use Emojicon today. There we go. There. That was easy. I turned down my sound. And there. Good stuff, huh? Well, let's see who's in the chat. Can scroll down a bit. Oh my goodness, Julie Hedges is here. Hello, Julie. She just did my grounding in the woods by taking a wet walk after the rain. Love to hear the drip, 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 drop, and left. Aw, thank you for sharing that, Julie. And to be able to go out and do your grounding outside, you know, that is fantastic. And I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did, because I'll tell you in a second. Hey, Julie Shumway Hill is in the house too. Hello. Hello, the two Julies came in together almost. They were just probably seconds apart from each other. And Rob says, you'd been through the desert with a show with no name. That's right. I like that group too. It was America, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. I like that album. And I actually have the vinyl album. I never did get the CD or even the download for them. Jocelyn, hello, Jocelyn. Good afternoon to you. It's good to have you in the house. And look, Rochelle's here too. Hello, Rochelle. Rochelle, I did get your information, and I did tell my mother hello for you, and gave her a big hug for you too, a gentle hug for you as well. So thank you for that. And, oh my goodness. And Kimberly Griffiths is here too. Hello. She's on holiday and she's still tuning in from Lake Como in Italy. Good one though. Bring some of that good warm weather from Italy with you too, right? Rob says, I loved Shared and Grounded. This isn't my first table rodeo. No, it's not. You're one of our what do they call it? A star? 4-star? No, what is that? We have some of our community members. I don't know how Facebook does this, but they're calling us, what is that called? They give us stars, which I think is great, because I have a couple of two on different shows that I support. So Rochelle says, having trouble again with FB. Oh, rats. Yeah, that's not fun, is it? Thank you, Julie, for liking and sharing. Thank you, Jocelyn, for doing the same. I know, right, Rochelle? Darn. Just refresh your screen. That seems to help. Refresh your screen. That means go out and come back, okay? And Julie says, now I'm eating authentic guacamole. Yum, 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 yum. One of my faves. And he's a top fan. That's it. Because I remember the little stars on there. So are you, Julie. You get a star too. Yeah, that reminds me when we were kids, remember in grade school, and when we did a really good job, they'd give us gold stars on our paper, and it came to be known as the gold star students. Yeah. Yeah, as an adult, I was still doing that up until a few years ago, trying really hard to get something done as good as possible, and doesn't help when your mom is a perfectionist. And waiting for that gold star, right? Yeah, I finally outgrew that. It took a while, but it did. Top fan, and Rochelle's one too. I know we've got top fans in the house today. Thanks so much, you guys. Okay, here's a little update before we get into the card reading. Lots going on at my house, literally, literally. Let's see. Last time I talked to you guys was on Wednesday. Thursday, Paul, my husband wasn't feeling well. And Thursday night, he really got sick. Yeah, really got sick. We didn't know what it was. He was in a lot of pain. And so, did the usual, take the temperature, gave him some Tylenol and a warm pack, and he finally went back to sleep. And I was dealing with George at the same time, our soon-to-be 11-month-old puppy. Paul went to work the next day. By noon, though, he was saying, I'm coming home. I'm not feeling good. And I said, go to the doctor. So he went to the Veterans Administration's emergency room here in Toma. And, yeah, he's got a kidney stone. Oh, my God. No wonder why he was in such pain. And they wanted him to go down to Madison. This was on Friday, trying to get him a ride to go down there so he didn't have to drive himself. Couldn't do it. So he ended up having to drive himself down there. He gets down there, and the urologist, the doctor who just came on duty for his shift, said, oh no, you don't have to be here. There's nothing here to do. Just take some of these pills and you'll be just fine. So then Paul was not happy, but he did come home, and he's got pills to take. And so, we're waiting for the stone to pass. And so he's been in some discomfort, not as much as pain as he was before. So prayers would be good. He is in pretty good spirits, though. He really is. He's, he hasn't lost his sense of humor. Still, trying to do as much as he can without overtaxing himself. But, yeah, in fact, he just took George for a swim. So, yeah. So we got that going on, as well as it was my mom's birthday yesterday, and she turned 100 yesterday. And so we made an authentic Mexican meal, something that she used to make for us when we were kids. My dad was the Mexican Indian, but my mom learned how to cook the kind of meals that my dad liked. And it turned out that she really liked that food too. And so we had tamales. I didn't make the tamales, I bought them. Made tamales, but I made the rice that she likes and the pinto beans the way she likes it. And we had cheesecake for her birthday. And right now I have a house full of people, relatives that came in to see her. And I said, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go up and do my show. I'll be back. Thank God. I'd rather be with you guys. So anyway, that is, so we got a lot going on here. And I'm working on a magazine. We're almost ready to publish tomorrow. I have one last thing to do. Otherwise, we're poised to publish the June issue of Star Nations magazine. So it's been a whirlwind here. Really, it has. It really, really has. I got to move my camera a little bit. Sorry, don't want to make you guys motion sickness here. I know, right? Yeah, my mom she's funny. She makes me laugh. Rochelle said, I did, seems to help at this moment. Oh, good. Okay. Then you refresh your screen. Thank you, Julie, for sending Reiki for Paul. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Yeah, I know. Wow, right? Right. Yep. And thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. Right now she's visiting with her boys, her sons, which she just, she's not going to miss me at all. She's visiting with her sons and their spouses. Yeah, that's amazing. Happy birthday. Yeah, it is. She says she never would have guessed or dreamed that she would be alive this long. Yeah, she had a few really close calls in her lifetime, and I think she's. Let's see. She hurt her back when she was 16, 13, no, 16. Couldn't walk for a year. There was that one. She was in a car accident in her 20s, or maybe it was her in her 30s. And then she had heart failure in 1986 or 87, 80, I think it was 86. I think it was 86. Yeah. And then she had, I don't remember what it was called. She was in and out of the hospital, I don't know how many times, for a hiatal hernia that she didn't know she had, and almost died from that one. So she's on, that was number 4. So anyway, she told me last night, when I gave her cheesecake, she says, so next year, she says, God willing, that if I'm still here, she goes, well, I'll be 1 year old next year. She says she's starting over. She says it's kind of like an odometer. We just flipped it over. Yeah, so she is. She actually has a pretty good sense of humor. Thank you, Jocelyn. I'll let her know. I'll let her know that everybody was wishing her a belated happy birthday. I know, I got longevity. I do. Her dad, my grandfather, was 98 on paper when he passed away. But he was, I think, 104, really, because, when they registered on tribal people on reservations, they took that day as his birthday, and he was already 7, I think it was. So, yeah. Thank you, Jocelyn, for prayers for Paul. And thank you, Rob. He says, had to step away for a bit. What's up with Paul? He's got a kidney stone. He hasn't passed it yet. Yeah, we're waiting on that. It's like, geez. Julie says, I'm working on a baby quilt for my soon-to-be-born grandson while I listen. Her C-section has been bumped up to this week. Really, it has? Oh, my goodness. Okay. Wow. Well, we'll hold your daughter and soon-to-be baby grandson, in our prayers, too. Close to our hearts. Working on that quilt. Hi, Pat. She says, I couldn't wait for you to go live, a grounding atmosphere. Well, thank you. And really, while I'm kind of chatting away, if you haven't done your grounding, please do so, because I think that it'll be helpful in this reading, okay? Yeah. And Deborah says, happy birthday to your mom. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Sure, you can go ahead and post it if you'd like. Thank you, Rob. Yeah. and some of it is just, being patient with the waiting, because Paul doesn't seem to be in as much pain as he was before, let me tell you. A discomfort, but not at the agonizing pain that he was in on Thursday night. Yeah. So, yeah, I know, isn't it right? Sending good thoughts and prayers. Thank you. I never would have imagined how many people, could relate to the kidney stone thing. There's a lot of people who've actually experienced it and or have somebody in their life that has. And it's just amazing. And so we do know there's another lifestyle change going to happen. And yeah, and things that Paul's going to have to shift in his life. We were just talking about that this morning. And it was really more about timing, because I said, that you have to get certain things done in the morning that you're not used to doing. And that is drinking lemon juice with 2 cups of water and another juice like cranberry or black currant, I think. No, black cherry. And I said before you actually eat, because it's all about absorption, right? And we do NutriBullet smoothies in the morning, and we were using spinach, and spinach isn't all that good for Paul. So we're gonna have to switch that to kale. And so I said, even before you do your NutriBullet drink. So yeah, so he's kind of hanging his head. He goes, "Oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to remember all that." And I said, "You will. It just takes a little while." I said, "This is what they talk about lifestyle change, right?" And he says, "Could you also use some Reiki for Andrew?" Okay, we were both rough yesterday, but I got better. He's still feeling poorly. Really, that's interesting. Sure, absolutely. Prayers to you guys. Very helpful. Thank you, Pat. Happy birthday to my mom. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, we got lots of things going on, don't you think? Yeah. Because I thought I wasn't feeling well for on Friday either. I felt like I had the flu or coming down with the flu. Yeah. But what I also thought is that mine was for stress, because I really wanted to be with Paul and drive him down to Madison. I was worried about him driving by himself. And yeah, and so, yeah, I'm running around with a fleece on because I was freezing, and I didn't take my temperature, though. I probably should have. But anyway, we're good. We got through that one and on to the next thing, right? Yeah. All right, let's see. Rochelle is saying, when the stone is moving, that's when it's moving. My late husband had a history of kidney stones. I had one about 8 months ago. Horrible. Oh, God. I know. Everybody says that, Rochelle. Everybody who knows about this and has talked to us has said the same thing. She says, for me, it was about getting in a routine. Yes. And I think that's very helpful, Deborah, is really starting a new routine and just adding something new to your old routine, right? And once you get used to that, and then adding a new one in, yeah, that seems to be helpful. And moving causes the pain. I know they have them on medication, something to do with helping with that. Honestly, I don't remember the name of the medication. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, she hit the century mark. She did. She's seen a lot of changes in her life. There is some recorded elder hour shows that we did a long time ago when we first started Star Nation's radio network, when we were still with Blog Talk Radio. We had elder hour, and we would interview elders, right? And so I had this list of people who I wanted to interview, and my mom was at the top of the list. And I realized after our first show, recorded show, because she didn't want to be live. She'd do it to help me out, but she'd only do it if it was recorded. And so she, after her first show, I realized, why would I need to go anywhere when I have an elder right here, right? So I think we did like 7 or 8 shows. and they're still archived. You can listen to them at Blog Talk Radio or at iTunes podcast. Yeah, for Star Nations Radio Network. And yeah, so she's got those out there. But anyway, in one of those interviews that I did with her, she, I asked her, what was the biggest change in society overall that she'd seen in her lifetime, because she'd seen so much, right? I mean, she learned how to drive on Model A. No, which one came first, Rob? Model A or Model T? I think it was Model T, right? No. Anyway, on the first one that they made, that Ford made, and she learned how to drive that when she was 12. And she said everything was up on the column on the steering wheel. There wasn't anything on the floor, so you had to shift up here. And so she learned how to drive on that when she was 12. Anyway, what she said to me, what the biggest change that she saw was the typewriter. I said, the typewriter? Because I thought she would say airplane or computer or something like that. She said typewriter. Really? Why? And she says to me that it was because the typewriter, the manual typewriter, changed the lives of so many women. She said thousands of women, it changed their lives. And I said, how so? And she said, because many times women could not get a job other than maybe doing laundry or, housework or something like that. And it paid nearly nothing, and barely keeping some families afloat. And she said, when the typewriter came along and you learned how to type, she said that typing was not seen as man's work. And so when women learned how to type, they were getting paid real money for it. So much so that they changed the layout of the keyboard. It used to be in alphabetical order, and women would get paid by the words per minute. So women were making really good money for the time. And so they changed the keyboard to what we have today, and that was to slow them down. So that's what she said was the biggest change. Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Rob. Yep, it was a Model A she learned on. Mm-hmm. It was her uncle's car. She was moving it in the driveway. Julie says, 100 years, such change. I know, right? Yeah. He says the most important invention of the 20th century is probably the air conditioner and refrigeration. Probably. I was expecting her to say something quite different. And she really kind of shocked me on that one. She says, being able to type as a male saved me from manual labor when I was in the throes of addiction. Oh, well, see? Yeah, it does mean something, huh? Yeah. So, very interesting. Okay, thanks for listening to that long introduction. What we have today is we started a new deck. I went to go draw the card for this morning, and I got out the deck that we were using, which was the Lakota Sweat Lodge deck, and I touched it, and it was just, it didn't feel right. It's like, what's going on? And so, I was listening to my spiritual team, and it was time for a change. Okay, so I went through my. I have several decks of oracle and divination cards, and so I was saying, which one? And so this is the deck that came up for us to use for at least until we get the nudge to switch again. And it's called the Spirit of the Wheel meditation deck. Right? Don't you like that cover? I don't have the box anymore, but it was created by Linda Iwashina and illustrated by Jody Bergsma. published by the U.S. Games Incorporated. I think it's 2006, I think. Let me see. Yep, 2006. Yeah. So that's what have been on the cover, right, of the box. And this is the cover that they use for the cards themselves. So it's on, it's based on the medicine wheel, the Native American medicine wheel. And it's on the bottom of the cards, it says all my relations. And the illustrator, I think, is really, really good. From what I read about her, she actually does illustrations for award-winning illustrations for children's books. Now, I believe both women are from the Northwest. Actually, shouldn't say that. British Columbia, Canada. And so that kind of, we're going to get that feeling of British Columbia, the natives from that and part of the world in this deck. I was trying to figure out if the author Linda Iwashina, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, if she was a tribal member or if she worked for a Native Indigenous nation or what. I haven't been able to find that out. So, but the feeling of the cards themselves and the information that she had, I kind of had the feeling like she was maybe Ojibwa, Anishinaabeg. But it's got some good information, though. Really? Yeah, it does. Rob is asking a full month with this one. Probably. It's possible because it usually goes that route, right? We were just a little bit over a month with this last deck, like by just a few days. And Julie's saying, interesting about the typewriter and changing the keyboard to slow down word count. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, very true about the quirky layout. That's right. All right, so the card that came this morning. Okay, it's Turtle Clan. And it's all about grounding, steady progress, and solidity. And they have a number 5 on here as well. That means it's the position, and it's the 5th stone in the medicine wheel that Linda is using. Now, if you've been a regular listener to any of my shows, you know that there are many, there's one medicine wheel, but there's many interpretations to the medicine wheel. It depends on the indigenous nation that you come from or that you're studying with. It also depends on sometimes even just the clan have their own variations of their medicine wheel. And so this is another way of experiencing it. And so I thought this is going to be really interesting for us, okay? Because it's another nation that we as a group, as a community, haven't talked about or shared, okay? So Turtle Clan. And I'm going to see if I can get my camera to focus there. Really looking at that turtle. It's got his head out, right? And behind him is a depiction of, it's kind of hard to see. It looks like a shield, but it really is a turtle. You can see the head and the feet and the tail. So it could be a shield in the background. right? And you've got stones around it, the stone people. And the turtle is crawling along the water edge. And so part of the turtle is in the water, just on the edge there, and partly on the beach or the shore. Right? Turtle Clan. And when I drew this card and I took a look at it, the first person who came to mind was Rochelle. Rochelle, because a few weeks ago, in the drum making workshop I taught in in Lyons, Michigan, Rochelle was there. Rochelle Lottie was there, and I think we were done with the class, and people were taking things out to their car. There was a snapping turtle underneath Rochelle's car, and they were trying to get it to move. It wouldn't move. And finally somebody got it to at least to move away from the path of the wheels. And Rochelle was able to move her car forward so that she didn't hurt the turtle at all. In fact, I think it went down into the grass, down into the dirt a bit, and pulled all his extremities in. I think it was a him. But anyway, she didn't hurt it at all. And it stayed there for a little while, not very long, and then it was gone. But that's, Turtle Clan. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, Rob. Rochelle's card. Exactly. And Julie says, Turtle came to me 3 times in one day right after Memorial Day. Really? That same week, 3 times? Wow. Really wanted to get a message to you. I know there is a message. I'm still waiting for the right one. What she really wants to say to me, glad to tune in today for turtle medicine. Exactly. And I do know this. Through our experience with using the different decks of cards and the older cards, like from the 90s, right, is that the base information is still really good, but it's looking at it from more of an expanded vibration, and the vibration that we find ourselves in today, right? Because our vibration is different than it was back in even 2006, right? Yeah. So when we get to the information about this card, keep that in mind. Take the information that we're being given, and then ask your spiritual team to help you to understand it in the vibration that we're in today. Okay? Yeah. That's why it's helpful to be grounded when we're doing this work, so that you're really connected to Grandmother Earth and that you're centered. So that when you receive the information, you're receiving it really in as many ways as possible, through all of your bodies, as much as you possibly can. Okay? So here we go. And I got to show you this. This is the book that it comes with. All right? It's little. It's not a full-size book. And look at the size of that text. I'll be using my bifocals on this one. It's little. So you're going to have to cut me a little slack. You know what I like on this card? You see the turtles down below? Okay. Now take a look at that. Those are the same turtles that are on the shield. Yeah. Here we go. All right, here we go. This is what the author has to say. She says, the Turtle Clan card augurs a time of slow and steady progress. Do not be concerned that nothing much is happening outwardly at this time. You will reach your goal when the time is right. Slowing to the turtle pace requires that you have patience and faith that the universe will provide what you need. If you push fate and try to reach your goals prematurely, you will not enjoy the full bounty of success. The tasks will not be completed properly, and you may burn yourself out by forcing the whole process. The turtle pace assures that your goals are grounded and that you will, in fact, have the energy and perseverance to reach the desired end. So in other words, is not to push it, not to try so hard, right? Not to try to make something happen, not to make it happen. And sometimes it's a practice in patience. Sometimes it is. And sometimes it's because we're in an integration time frame, right? An integration space. Because sometimes we learn part of the lesson. It's like a building block, right? And so then we have to integrate that and bring it into our world, our physical world. And then we have to kind of sit with it for a while and learn about it and be comfortable with it, right? Integration. And then we can start moving forward at a regular pace again. It's not like we're not moving in the integration period. It's just that it's much slower than most of us are really comfortable with. Because let's face it, we live in a very fast-paced world. Even those of us that recognize it and we are very aware and really mindfully slow down, right? Even we are actually much faster than our grandparents or our great-grandparents' generations were. Don't you think? Yeah, we're used to being a part of a generation or a world that is used to drive-through service. You slow down just enough to make your order, and you go to the next window to pick it up. And so, how our lives unfold is nothing like that at all. And so I think we get really impatient if we don't get what we want, when we want it, how we want it. Doesn't it sound like we're privileged? Yeah, kind of in a way, right? Yeah. So turtle medicine helps us to understand that going at a slower pace has its benefits. That we can actually achieve a more completeness in our desired goals. Yeah. Because, okay, here's what I just heard, is miracles happen. It doesn't matter the time frame, fast or slow, it doesn't matter. Miracles happen. Miracles happen at any pace. Because sometimes things do flow fast, right? And other times I really do believe that they need to be slower because the change is bigger. And it's more of a measured, right? It's a slower change rather than abrupt change, right? Yeah. Okay. I gotta get into the chat room here. Okay, so Deborah is saying, I was watching my grandson at a park, and someone found a type of redback turtle. No idea exact kind. It's probably a box turtle, I would think. I think they have red in them, reddish orange. Yeah. Julie's saying, my turtle friends were water turtles crossing the road. I stopped to help two of them. Yay! The other one had safely crossed. These water turtles move fast. Interesting message. Yeah, different pace, right? I mean, slow. I guess maybe it's relative, right? Fast like a rabbit, or fast like a fast turtle. Because a fast turtle is still moving kind of slow. If you compare it to some other species, right? But for a turtle, it probably was like a sprinter, right? Yeah. So glad you helped him across. We saw a turtle yesterday crossing the road. Paul and I were heading home, and there was a turtle crossing the road, and so Paul slowed down, and we were in the truck, so it's kind of hard to see once you get even, somewhat near them. And so I'm trying to figure out, it's like he was going to pull over or at least slow down and stop. It was a country road, and there was nobody around. And so I was going to jump out to see if it had crossed. And he had just stopped, and I could see the turtle going into the grass. I said, "Oh, you missed it. There, it was good. It's fine." So, yeah. Julie says, "I hate slow. I have 3 planets, Sagittarius and Sag ascendant. I got fire in me." I know what you mean. I do. With a triple fire here, Sag, going slow for me is my slow is somebody's fast. Did I say that right? No. My slow is somebody's. I'm slow. I just don't get. I know, and it's hard for me too, Julie. It is hard for me too, but it's all in the breath. It's all in the breathing. Drive through life. Yeah. You know what? And a lot of dry food is not good for us. It really isn't. It's not very healthy for us. And Pat said, "I received a message this morning. Everything magical happens in non-happening." Ooh, that's a good one, Pat. I like that. Do you mind if we use that? That is a good one. I received a message this morning. Everything magical happens in non-happening. Yeah. It's like it happens in the unseen first. And then when we see it in the physical world, right, that means that somebody's actually grounded it here. Isn't that what that means? Yeah. Pretty good. I like that one. Thank you for sharing that, Pat. Jocelyn saying, "Me too, Julie." Yeah, not that slowing down. There's no stop for fuel turtles. Oh my gosh. Well, the thing is that those of us who like to go fast, if we're not careful, we burn ourselves out. I've done it on more than one occasion. I'd like to think that I've learned my lesson about that, and I pay more attention to it. I'm more aware of it. I know what the symptoms are, because crashing and burning is not good. Your adrenals are shot, and it takes a long time to heal and bounce back from that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to do that again. It's no fun. And Kimberly says, "Yes, it's all about gratitude too. This makes sense. If you live in the flow, it feels so much better." That is absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because when we struggle against the pace of the flow, we're still struggling. We're not in the flow. We're not. Yeah, we're trying to find that fast. What's that called? It's like a riptide, isn't it? What's the one that really runs fast? There's a Gulf Stream, and that's like being on, the Audubon. That's hugely fast. This is about turtles who are with a slow pace. Now, wait a minute. Maybe we just hit on an expanded version of this. Because you can be a turtle. You could be Turtle Clan. And you could be in the Gulf Stream. You're still in the flow, but it's a faster flow. Rather than being in a meandering stream it moves, but it's not as fast as the Gulf Stream, right? What is that children's movie with, was it Nemo? And I remember, I haven't really seen the movie, but I remember seeing clips of it where there's a turtle that isn't actually in the Gulf Stream and moving quite fast. Yeah, but you're right, Kimberly. I agree with you that it is about gratitude. And, honestly, I think gratitude should be across the board, no matter what we're doing or how fast or how slow we're doing it, right? That we have heartfelt gratitude, true gratitude, right? Julie says, one I tried to help scurried away from me back to the pond he came from. Another time, turtle friends, yeah, the other one I helped watered me as energy exchange. All right, so did he pee on you? Is that what you're saying? You were anointed. Kimberly says, yes, we've burned out too. It's horrible. 3 years with CFS trying to be the best with everything. But just being is fine sometimes. Exactly. We just, I think it's good to recognize when we're in that slower pace of the turtle clan. I think that is a good awareness. And I think once we accept it, we're aware of it, and we kind of settle into it, is that whatever we're going through it's more graceful, number one, right? And it's going to happen in the time that it needs to happen in. Once we start forcing it to happen, means that we're taking the harder path. And so then we have more complications, we have more heartache, maybe even heartbreak, that we're caught in that vicious cycle of you think you're going to be doing something and it falls apart. You think you're going to be doing something that falls apart. Been there, and part of that is because I was burning out. This was years ago. This was back in the 80s. It was just before we moved to Pointe. Moved to Caroline. And yeah, it was bad. I think the second time I had pneumonia. I think it was the second time I had pneumonia. Yep. God, it was not good. Things that we did. Julie's saying the turtles and Nemo were cruising along, dude. Yeah, that's it. So I think that we can, and once we're relaxed into the pace, is that spirit can help us get into maybe a faster flow, but maybe is not as fast as, say, a jackrabbit or a cheetah, right? It's still a little bit slower. Hi, Lauren. Lauren says, gratitude is the immense sanctuary of grace and truth. Only way to be. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Yes. Gratitude is the immense sanctuary of grace and truths. Only way to be. That's right. And when we have heartfelt gratitude, it can change things so easily, can it? And I think that's where the miracles happen, personally, when we recognize that miracle, right? Yeah. Julie says, yes, you urinated on me, but he was safely across the road trying to find out what the chickens make a fuss about. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that really is water medicine, isn't it? The spirit of water. Yeah, I think so too, Deborah. Lauren said it well. I agree. You know what I really love, guys? I really love this kind of conversation, don't you? I do. Good things come out of it all the time. All right, so the rest of what the author has to say about this Turtle Clan, it says, learn to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Living in the moment allows us to build up our reserve of inner strength. Turtle teaches us to become centered and grounded. Its protective shell is a gentle reminder to establish boundaries between what we are and are not willing to experience. Balance what you receive with what you give back to the world. Basically what we just said, right? But let's talk about the shell, because this was, the author put this very interestingly. It says its protective shell is a gentle reminder to establish boundaries between what we are
and are not willing to experience. What we are willing and not willing to experience, boundaries. And one of the things that we have talked about to quite some length in previous shows are boundaries. And the best boundaries, the most, the strongest boundaries are boundaries that are established from the heart with love rather than from fear. Because when we establish a boundary from fear, we're constantly having to check on it and to reinforce it. And when something that we deem negative comes into our life, we question our boundaries, right? We question. I thought I had a boundary about that. But when we create a boundary from a place of love, from our heart, it's a very strong boundary, and we don't utilize our personal energy to keep it in place, right? So boundaries. So Turtle can teach us about boundaries too. Can teach us about boundaries. So maybe today's message is really about being that if you are experiencing something in your life that is taking a lot longer than you thought or that you want it to take, right? And it seems like whenever you try to make it move faster or to remove a block or anything like that, it gets more complicated, and it's not smooth at all. It just gets unbearably uncomfortable. You think, what the heck is going on here? Every time I turn around, I feel like I'm bumping into a wall. And maybe it is about accepting the slower pace, allowing spirit to create those items that are meant for us to be able to bring into our lives, right? And for us to be patient for that creation to happen. I know it takes some faith in that, right? It does. But maybe that's what this card is about, is accepting the pace, the slowness of it. And looking for the gratitude, being grateful in those things that are occurring in that slower pace, just like Lauren and Pat were talking about, right? Is that to be grateful for what is happening in the moment for you, even though it's at a pace that you want to have it sped up to get it through and done. To see the joyful things in the journey, rather than trying to race toward that desired goal, right? Because we miss so much when we're moving so fast. And I'm the first one to admit that. It's like, oh crap, if I would have slowed down, I would have been able to see that. When you're trying to do 3 things at one time, it's not good. It's not good. Yeah. Moving too fast. We don't see what's really around us. And for us to be really grateful about something, we really have to pay attention to it, right? And I feel like that is what Turtle is bringing to us in this first round, the very first card that we get, right? Because it is about grounding. It's about being grounded. And when we're grounded, we're in the moment. We realize that we come back to our physical body. We're connecting to Grandmother Earth. We're being grounded. And even though it feels like it's too slow for you, the slower pace is a steady pace. You're still moving forward. And perhaps there is some time when we are at a slower pace like that is to evaluate, take some stock in a boundary or boundaries, and asking the medicine of the turtle clan, to help you create good boundaries, optimal boundaries. Perhaps taking down the ones that take a lot of your energy to keep in place, and replacing them with something that is more heartfelt and not from fear. No. And let's talk a little bit about that number 5. I know we're near the top of the hour. At number 5, the turtle clan in this particular variation of the medicine wheel, it's in the 5th position of the medicine wheel, the 5th stone, if you will. But just the number 5. The number 5 is about change, right? It's about change. The number 5. So sometimes when we have possibly a huge life change, a lifestyle change, maybe due to kidney stones, it's better to take that change slower in that lifestyle change, the dietary change, the taking life a little bit slower and being appreciative of what's going on around you. It makes the change possibly more enjoyable. You learn how to enjoy what's around you, right? Now, the author includes a prayer. And this prayer is kind of nice. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Through the lessons of the turtle, I move towards my goal with a steady, slow progress that will assure completion. My life is more complete when I take the time to enjoy myself, as my body is healthier and my mind is clearer. I honor Turtle for opening my connection to the Earth Mother, and I am grateful for the gifts that she has given to me." Isn't that a nice prayer? I honor Turtle for opening my connection to the Earth Mother, and I am grateful for the gifts she has given me. I like that. I'm going to check the chat. All right. So Lauren says, "I have much turtle around me. My shaker, my drum, my necklace, my heart. Beautiful medicine. You're such an authentic, I love human being." Thank you for sharing your wisdom. You're welcome, Lauren. You're very welcome. I just enjoy the conversation. I really do. We learn so much from each other, don't we? And Kimberly says, "Boundaries are so good to preserve energy and focus." Yes, they are. To accept the pace in the now. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, and it's just not words, right? It's just not the words. I mean, the words are good, but we actually have, when we put action behind them, I think that puts, there's more of an integrity to it, right? Yeah. We're walking our talk. Walking our talk. Yeah. I like that, boundaries. What you said, Kimberly. Pat said, "This is where I am presently, the perfect card for me today." Well, good. Excellent, Pat. I'm glad it was helpful to you. I really do. There is always, there's always more than one way to understand something, right? When we bring it in. That's why I think it's really important when we're doing these card draws and this conversation, is when we're grounded and we're using turtle medicine in this way, right? Is that we're in the moment together, we're grounded, and we're sharing spiritual information, We're learning from each other. And so we can bring in the information that's meant for us individually and as a community in many, many different ways. It comes through all of our bodies, right? It comes through our mental, emotional, spiritual, right? And physical body. And so we have the opportunity to really bring in the information in its wholeness. Yeah. So that if something resonates with us, we feel it, right? And we know it. Yeah, I like it. Now, we're at the top of the hour. In fact, we're a couple minutes past. It's one of my sisters. They're having a conversation. So if anything resonated with you from our conversation today about Turtle Clan and using our new deck for the month or so, Spirit of the Wheel by Linda Iwashina, that's it. If anything resonated with you, whether it was a word, a phrase, or the whole thing, my suggestion is to embrace it, and be aware. Watch how today's energy is unfolding around you and where this information would be helpful. Yeah, and if it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. Don't worry about it, really. No worries. No worries. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings, especially mine, if you say, yep, didn't get that one. that wasn't for me. It's all right. It's okay. I always say there's always tomorrow's cards, right? Yeah. And so, and now I have a niece trying to find me. Hang on. Hold the phone. They're going to have to wait just a moment. Okay. So if anything resonated with you, I'm grateful. I really am. So hopefully you guys will be able to catch one of our next shows. It's at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning with Mervyn Kelly. That's from Star to Stone. He's going to be telling us some stories and catching us up on what's going on in his life, right? That's at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And at 12 Eastern on Tuesday is, did I say Monday? Mervyn's show is on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. Tuesday, June 11th. And Soul Connections with Polly Jo LeBay is on at noon Eastern time on Tuesday. And then my evening show is on at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday evening. Okay. And tomorrow, the 10th, June 10th, we'll be publishing the June issue of the June issue of the Star Nations magazine. That's tomorrow, June 10th. So with that, thank you so much, you guys, for being with me on this Sunday. And we'll see you tomorrow, Monday, for the Spiritual Roundtable. Okay, and that's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bamamina. In Potawatomi, that means until we see each other again. Love you guys.